Say again. 60 minus 40 is already 20, so 60 minus 41, I'm subtracting more, so I should get less, correct? So look at that last problem. 6 minus 4 would be 2, so 6 minus 4 and the 4 should be less than 2. How much less than 2? A fourth less than 2. That's one way to do that. You could also make that into improper fractions, get a like denominator, right? Up to you. Okay.
How would you make that? It's 4 times 4 plus 1 to make it.
Totally. Yeah. 4 times 4 plus 1, so you'll get 17 fourths. Then you make 6 over 1, you can make that over 4. So that would be an acceptable way to do it. Would be acceptable. But the kind of nice way to do it is 6 minus 4 is 2. Can you guys tell me what's a fourth less than 2? 1 and 3 fourths. Whoever had that version of Wisdom, you're welcome. I just did that one for you. Yeah.
Number 2, I think it was. Yeah. Could you just do the adding the fractions
Yes.
wrong thing?
Yes, totally.
Okay, yeah.
You got it. That's what I was hoping you do. It would be so gross to try and find a fraction directly between the two. That would suck. Yes.
That bottom one, number, that one?
This one or this?
No, can you do that thing where you?
Guys, what was the trick on number 4?
You can flip it, right, and then just cancel it.
7 over 4 and 4 over 7 cancel.
And again, some of you guys had this one, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. But everybody had
And it was just.
everybody had this problem.
What would you do?
The 2 7s cancel out and the 2 4s cancel out.
Guys, it's all multiplication, correct? Math don't give a shit what order you multiply in. The order of operations is just if you have multiple types of operations. If I have all the same, if it's all addition, all multiplication, that's commutative. I can multiply whatever the hell order I want to. So of course I'm going to multiply. So if I wanted to, I could say list the properties or whatever. Properties of the list of properties used. You would have used commutative and associative, right? But the long story short, you used compatible numbers.
I just did it all in the parentheses, 11 times 4, for example. I didn't have this question, but and then 43 times 7, and then got that, and then multiplied it.
Oh shit. Yeah. So that's too much. I wanted something, a strategy, meaning there should have been compatible numbers, there should have been compensation, there should have been something you could do to make it quicker.
Did we have to
My
state the
strategy was to
strategy?
do too much.
No, I didn't say to state it.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted you to, but I didn't say, so you didn't have to.
What if you just cross cancel the 4s and the 7s?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Totally. I was just saying the long way. If I wanted to say what properties enable you to do it, commutativity, associativity. That's how you get the 7 4s and 4 7s together. Of course, we're like, all that shit means is you can multiply any order you want to. So we just did, right? Now, if you're a little person learning this, you're going to be more step by step.
Can I verify the answer is just gonna be 11/43?
Yeah. And just to be fair, the answer here is
Also 11.
23 over 29.
I got like 2,000 something.
That's impressive.
Okay.
Would that be wrong though, if you were to write what he wrote?
Yes.
Because you just didn't simplify it?
If you simplified it, you would still lose the points because you didn't use a strategy. You just did straight multiplication. So when I say use a strategy, I mean there's got to be something you can do to make it quicker to do, right? Something you do actually make it doable in your head. Yeah.
But what if he did that and simplified it? Is that still wrong?
No, you get points for it being right, but you'll lose points for not doing what I ask. Yeah. And again, because I'm evil. I'm an evil person. So. Yes.
But who's more evil, Matt or teachers?
What?
He's all, can I get my test back? I forgot.
No, I'm gonna bite this bullet.
That's
It's
funny.
in the chin.
Oh, don't worry, he's
All right, let me give you guys this. So we have winners or test
Thursday, right?
a week from today. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
called senior dish day, nobody come to class.
We're freshmen.
let's see, where did I do with this? Just had it. I updated the. Where did I put it? Okay. Oh, that's right. That's what I want. I didn't really update it, to be honest. I'm not even gonna change it. I don't even need it. The next test is gonna go up to 7.2. There's no way in hell we're gonna cram all of chapter 7 in today. There's no way. You guys, is anybody upset about that? Okay. Which means that I might have to, at least I'm gonna have to cut some of 9 out, if not, even if I don't make any of chapter 9 homework due, we're still gonna discuss chapter 9. But it is possible I'm gonna have to not have any 9. And again, I'm not,
Oh
I don't think you guys are gonna be too upset, but there's a couple really cool things I wanna talk about. Chapter 8's a little more important than chapter 9, so I can let go of chapter 9 a little bit. Yeah.
This has to do with math, but next semester they're not teaching 1, 2, 6.
I know, we were talking about that, yeah.
What? They're not.
Yeah, there's no 1, 2, 6 next
And
semester.
then there's another math that we're gonna need as well. It's like
128, yeah.
So what do we do? How do we educate?
So I am gonna teach 126, which is not gonna help you guys. I'm gonna teach 126 the next semester.
Okay, I'll be in that.
That was my plan. What I thought was gonna happen was, I thought Gary was gonna teach 126, but apparently that didn't happen. So, and I don't think Quilaka,
No, it's not offered anywhere.
I checked today, like I looked at all of this stuff today, next semester.
yeah. So you guys are aware that it's a little unfortunate that the elementary education degrees are not the most popular things to get. So that's why we only offer one section of 125.
Every single class.
126, and the other thing I've talked to you guys about is I'm trying to get more of my colleagues to get interested in this class. Part of me can't blame them too much because, we're math people. We don't necessarily think this way, to be honest, which is weird. But this is explaining math to somebody who's never seen math before. We're not used to doing that. We teach college, right? So my colleagues don't know enough about this class to understand what it's really like, right? And I can't talk too much because that was me 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So that decreases the probability somebody's gonna pick it up to teach it, which causes some semesters to be without 126. We seem to always be able to get 125, which is interesting.
It's supposed to be my last semester next semester, that's why.
Gotcha. You should reach out to the department chairs. And I'm not saying they're gonna necessarily be able to do
Right.
anything, but the more people they hear from, the more pressure that puts. And they might, you never,
Wait, so if we don't have it in the semester we need it, we have to wait?
You have
Yeah.
to wait.
It's like
Yeah.
it kinda sits
Are
here.
you jerking?
if you talk
You said the
to,
date?
if you guys, has anybody talked to a counselor, because they have access to assistance health, where a similar course that articulates would be taught. I'm not sure if any other colleges are
I'm
teaching.
pretty sure SDSU.
Sure, but I'm talking about like community colleges, like
I don't
Take
think.
a bunch of courses.
Lesson is a.
Yeah.
Right.
Not check Nate's
The
stuff.
transfer for education to SDSU.
no, that's okay. I'm
No,
sorry,
that's-
do it again. Sorry.
Pretty sure that's the only other school, like near us, that is even offering the class.
I'm pretty sure other community colleges teach this. So I'm thinking about like Mesa College. I'm thinking about like Southwest, Southwestern, San Diego City. They've got to teach this
Well,
course.
worst case scenario is just waiting
The
one
126.
semester, right?
That's the worst case scenario, which I don't like.
Yeah.
I never want to, especially students that we should be investing in.
They're kinda gonna
Future
send
math
it
teachers
back.
we should be
Yeah.
investing in.
It's gonna
So, I don't know. I'm not sure what to tell you guys.
This is, not gonna lie, 125 is the most fun I've ever had in a math class.
It shit don't even matter if you can't get your degree.
True. And especially if it's too long, stuff starts leaking out your brain.
Yes,
That's
why
how math works especially.
That's why I wanted to take it next semester.
So do me a favor, guys. If, I'm pretty sure all of you were planning on taking 126 next semester. Is this true? No? Some of you guys know? Okay.
No, did I say that again?
How many of you guys were planning on taking 126 next semester?
Or, Debbie?
If each of you would, let me,
Yeah, put it in Canvas.
uh,
No.
Or do a
Petition?
Yeah, do a little petition for you.
Yeah, I'll spread a passive aggressive email.
I'll email him
I
like, what
heard
the
you're good
fuck?
at those. Alright, just aggressive.
I've had a sit down with him, with the math.
Just aggressive.
Right.
Susan.
Terrible dude.
Morgan.
The math team, math team.
Susan Workins and Jenny
Bendin.
Brendan.
So if somebody will email me right now, I could email out their emails, and then you can email them with, just because you can't read my writing.
Mass text.
Plus, I can't remember how Jenny's email is listed, you know what I mean?
It's probably beta
At
E.
GCC.
Yeah, but I can't remember if they have the hyphen in there or not, you know what I mean? Yeah. You guys all with me?
I'm emailing you now, just.
Yeah. So I'll send out an email with their emails, and you can reach out. Is everybody with me?
Should we email them together, like in the same email, or each of them separate?
No, doesn't matter.
Okay.
They're not your local senator, we don't need some form letter.
Yeah, yeah. No.
But if the more students they hear from, the more motivation there is to try to put together a course.
They're putting a 3.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep it
I didn't mean to
respectful.
say that loud, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna show my age. Doesn't it like mess up your transcript if you have like a credit from the school?
No.
Sometimes they don't transfer as clearly.
As long, this is what I meant by talking to the counselors. As long as, for example, if there's an agreement between Grossbond and SDSU, and there is, and there are certain courses, so as long as there's articulation between community colleges, and you take it there, that won't mess you up at all. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because we have courses articulated with SDSU. So if there's something that doesn't articulate with us, that means there might not be an articulation agreement between them and SDSU, which could make a problem.
As you pick your classes too, at the bottom of them, it'll say like where it's transferable to.
Yeah, it's normally CU and CSU.
Yes.
No, yeah, I get that.
But you could have very specific articulation agreements between a community college and a CSU.
Ah.
Yeah.
Is it just because they don't have like the teacher to do it, or is it like the other math where they're just more? Because isn't there a math we talked about?
No, because they're gonna do it again in spring. What did you say?
Yeah. This has happened before, guys.
It's like,
126 is sometimes not,
but.
nobody's connected to teach it.
Depending on teaching it.
So if you send that, and I have to sit down, if you guys remind me too, I have to sit down and see. I can't remember right now in the fall schedule if we're offering 2 125s, because maybe we should instead offer 1 125 and 1 126. Instead of always letting 126 bear the brunt of.
What about 128? Is that good?
Well, that's after you take 125,
Yeah,
126.
sign me up for it, for both of them.
Yeah, you can take them.
You can
Oh,
take-
concurrently. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
You
But-
just took 125.
Together, but they only
Yeah.
do physio separate.
Okay.
and anatomy separate.
So, alright. So, you got me, Ramonda? Did you email me?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
doing it, I'm trying it now.
Why?
Alright,
I
guys.
replied to a past email.
I mean, usually if there is like a conflict, I mean.
Because I've never taught it before. So my plan was to teach this one more time
I can't take just.
while I'm formulating how I want to teach 126, and then I could teach 126. Just not enough time.
Oh,
Yeah.
starting
Alright.
teaching program.
Oh, we know they are teaching math 126 in Fiamaca. Fully online though.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're gonna take 126 online.
Mason, who's teaching?
Belden Hillary K.
Oh, I'm gonna start that.
She good? She good?
Guys, off the record.
Stop recording.
Stop recording.
Am I recording?
Yeah, you are. You're
I
recording.
am.
Looks like 4 125s.
Okay. Are you done, Isabel? Or did you have a
Yeah.
question? Huh? Thinking.
They're doing pretty much 4 here.
For 125.
5 next semester.
For 125.
Waller's teaching 2 and Lisi's teaching 2.
What?
Well, yeah, that's what it says right here. I think that's 2 different.
No,
Oh.
I'm teaching one class.
It's one of those weird where it's like it's a act. Where it's
Do you guys
also a
remember?
lab.
Do you remember when you saw in your self-service this class ends at 150 and then it starts again at 150? It's because there's a lab attached to it, and I really just kind of incorporate the lab in the lecture. I don't really separate the two.
But still, there's 2. There's still 2.
That's why we meet longer than a 3-unit course should, Because officially, this is a 3.885 unit course, and you get 3 units for it. You're welcome.
Yeah.
We should get more, but okay.
I know. But lab hours,
Yeah, come on, we're learning about fraction.
I
lab
have
hours
two
are
classes
counted
like
differently.
that.
You guys take any labs?
I
Don't you meet 3 hours a week and you get 1 unit?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. That's the way. So, did I give these out?
What are they?
Practice tests.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
Get that.
Let me get like 4 of those.
Sorry, I got derailed in my thinking here, so I didn't know what I'd done yet. I'm sorry, I'm not a bastion of good news.
Math.
I'm a math teacher, I'm not just teaching.
That's a lot.
So, but don't give up, there's time before the fall semester comes. So if you, but is there gonna be a lot of demand for this course? No. So what you can do is you can sign up as if it's not gonna be there, so you sign up for other things. You identify one class, you identify one class that you can drop if we do get one in the books. You see that? Because the demand for the course is not gonna be high. You're not gonna miss out on it if you have to adjust later.
Is it really that little teaching majors?
Yeah. I mean, relative to everything else. Yes. Alright, guys. So, this next test is gonna cover up through 7.2. I only need homework up through 7.2 by next Thursday. So Tuesday is gonna be review day, just like we've done in the past. I'll make answer key for the practice test. It is a very long practice test, but it will be cut down for the test. Alright. Huh? Oh. So let me start off, let me ask you guys this. Remind me, I heard somebody else talking about this just a minute ago. 9 over 250, without dividing 9 by 250, could anybody tell me if this is going to have a terminating decimal representation? Who remembers what we talked about? What's got to be true?
2s and 5s.
Good. The bottom can only be 2s and 5s. 2s and 5s. 2s and 5s. Doesn't quite work. There it is. So what do you do then? And when I say 2 and 5, I don't mean it's got 2 and a 5. No. So if you break that down, what does it become? How do you break that down? Break it down. What's the easiest way to break up 25? Listen to me. 25 times 10. Think. Right, and then 25 is
5 times 5.
5 times 5. 10 is.
Yeah, 2 times 5.
So will this become a terminating decimal? Yes.
Yes.
Does somebody have a calculator? What is 9 divided by 250?
Oh, it's.
0.36. 0.036.
Yeah, now, here's why that's not a surprise. Everybody stay with me. Does that by itself make sense? If I have a fraction and the bottom only has factors of 2 and 5, it will be a terminating decimal because then it's got some multiple of 10s on the bottom. So watch this. I have 3 5s and 1 2. How many more 2s do I need to make it a multiple of 10 only? I need 2 more 2s, yes? Is that cool? Isn't that 4? Isn't that 36 over 4 times this would be 1 0 0 0? Isn't that, what is that? 36. How do you write that? Let me stop for a second. Is everybody with me?
No.
Yes.
Do you see this 2 and this 5 make it a 10 already?
Yeah.
Don't I have those 2 poor little 5s I have nobody to be with?
Yeah.
So I give them 2 more 2s, now they each get a 2 to be with, yes?
Yeah.
So what is 10 times 10 times 10? 1,000. And of course, if I multiply the bottom by 4, I better multiply the top by 4, yes? So don't I get 36 over 1,000? And then how do I write that as a decimal then? To be really clear, I haven't said this yet, but the last digit has to end up in the correct place. Which is exactly, so it'll be tenths hundredths, thousandths, correct? So then this will be the 6, this will be the 3, and this is that placeholder 0. Let me stop for a minute. There's a lot of good shit wrapped up in that one problem. It's crazy. You guys doing all right? What's up? Let me know. Yes.
So you can just add the two.
I can
just
multiply top and bottom of any damn fraction in the universe by anything I want to except 0. Right? Yeah, let's do another one. We've got a couple examples. What about 71 over 128?
We'll terminate.
Really hard to just tell by looking at it. You guys help me out. What's the first step? Because we got to know what.
Divided by, if it will terminate.
I got to know if the bottom has anything that's not a
2 or
2 or a 5. If the bottom has something that's not a 2 or a 5, it won't be terminating. It'll actually have some kind of repetition to it. So how do I tell? I can't tell right now because 128's all together, so let me just pull that sucker apart, right?
64.
Yeah, 128 is 2 times
8 times 8, which
2 times 64, is that cool? And then if you want to, you just keep going. 64 is 2 times 32, and 32 is 2 times.
Well,
16?
16 and 16 is 2 times 8. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. Look at all those freaking 2s. How many 2s are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Oh, missed
so
one.
it would be 2 to the 7.
Yes. But can somebody tell me right now, will this be a terminating decimal?
No.
Yes.
It's only 2s.
So you ready?
We'll stop.
Does the bottom, guys, does the bottom have anything that is not a 2 or a 5?
No, it is a
It's
2.
got a bunch of 2s.
It's got only 2s.
So it doesn't need a
Now, the next level question would be, how many 5s does the bottom need to become a multiple of 10?
Wait.
2.
How many unmatched 2s are there? 7. So doesn't every 2 need a 5 to become a 10?
Yes.
Doesn't every 2
No.
need a 5 to become a 10?
Well, if you have the 5 2s already, can't
No,
those
no, no,
work
no.
together? No, okay.
I have no 5s to work with down there, correct? I can't make any 10s right now. And what I want is nothing but 10s. Can somebody give me a fraction that would immediately turn into a decimal? Any fraction that would turn into a decimal? 1/10. That would be 0.1. Is that cool? Give me another fraction with a different denominator.
1 over 4. 1 over 4.
0.5.
Sure, but I mean immediately, there's no 1 in the decimal representation of 1/4.
Ah.
Yes, do you see what I'm saying? So 1/10, 0.1. 200ths, 0.02. Give me another one.
300 is 0.00.
300ths, different denominator.
3,000.
3,000ths, okay, cool. So what's the general, in order for that to go directly to decimal, the bottom has to be a multiple of, or I'm sorry, a power of 10.
So 1/5.
10 squared 100, 10 cubed 1,000. Yeah, so 1/5 could become, if I multiply top and bottom by 2, then it'd be 2/10, 0.2. Are you guys with me? If the bottom has only 2s and 5s, any combination of 2s and 5s, you can make it become something over 1,000, a million, a billion, something. Yes. So maybe it'll help if I do an example that doesn't work. So I kind of gave away the game. So here, if I multiply by 5 to the 7th, my God. Because every 2 needs a 5, yes?
That is going to be a big old number.
Yeah. So let's not worry about it. That gets a little freaky. The important thing here is if I ask you, would this fraction have a terminating decimal representation? Yes. Why? Does the bottom have anything that's not a 2 or a 5? Does the bottom have anything that's not a 2 or a 5? Nope, it's only got 2s. So what about this?
Wait, when you say that, you're not including like the other factors, obviously, it's only the
When I broke 128 all the way down, it was only twos. Twos all the way down. Twos and triples. Okay. So what about this? Don't say anything. So what are you asking yourself? So now you can say something. Answer this question. What are you asking yourself? If I say, would this have a terminating decimal representation? What are you asking yourself?
Is it divisible by 2 or 5?
Not just that. Yeah. Is it
After we
only divisible by 2 and 5? Right? So how would it have a non-terminating representation? The bottom would have to have something that's not 2 or 5 to be non-terminating.
Like a 7.
Like a 7. So of course, anytime I ask you this question, doesn't it make sense? The first thing I want to do is break the bottom up so I can see what it's got. So how do you factor 280?
28 and 10.
But it does have a.
28 times 10?
Yes.
What's 28?
14 and 2.
Oh, 2 times 14, sure, okay. 2 times 14. 10 is 2 times 5, and what's 14?
2 and 7.
So will that have a terminating representation? No, it's got a freaking 7. What do I multiply 7 by to make it 10 or 100 or 1,000? You can't. That's the trick. You cannot. A 1,000. It's only got 2s and 5s in it because it's got 3 10s in it. Do you get that? So there's no, every terminating decimal, what will the bottom look like? 1 followed by some zeros, right? Terminated. Yeah. So, okay. You ready? Real quick.
Oh, okay.
So 0.03, what's that as a fraction? Tens, hundreds. What was the shortcut? And remember the shortcut about how to tell how many zeros to put?
Count
How many places? Yeah, 1, 2 places, 1, 2 zeros. So that should help out with this one. You ready? 0.0000000000001. 1 over 1.
1 over 1. Fucking
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Sorry. How many decimal places? Not just zeros, but how many decimal places, right?
12.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You gotta kind of go to the corner.
1 times 10 to the power of 12.
Yes. I need you guys with me. Decimals are special fractions. They are fractions that are in the form where the bottom is 1 followed by however many zeros. So everybody with me so far? That is a number of tens, right? Like Mason said, that's 10 to the 12. Every 10 only has 2 and a 5 in it. You guys with me? So that's why if the bottom has anything that's not a 2 or a 5, there's no way in hell it could become a terminating decimal. Okay.
Could you not like divide it by the number, like that 7 was in there, so instead of multiplying like dividing 2, you can just divide it by 7?
I can't get rid of the 7 because it's a part of this number, right? So it's kind of like, you can't say, Jeff, I like your problem, but let me change it. No, you gotta work with the problem I give you. And that problem's got a 7 in it. You can't get rid of it. Does it make sense? You cannot get rid of that 7, it's a part of the problem. Okay. Do 11 divided by 280 in your calculator. What do you get? Your calculator.
3.
Blah, blah, blah. That's all I remember you saying.
Um,
Now, of course, that's not proof because your calculator's gonna stop somewhere no matter what, but, you know, yes.
when I was like breaking down the 280, I stopped at like 2 and a 35. So I don't know what I should have done there.
You wanna go all the way down so you can make sure that you see that it's only got 2s and 5s. Now, for example, 14, you could sort of stop because you know it's got a 7 in it, right? But you really want to make sure that you see. You put eyes on. Are there only 2s and 5s or not? Yeah. You want to break it all the way down to its parts.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't let that be more than it is. If I give you a fraction and the bottom only has 2s or 5s, so for example, 1/8, will that be terminating? What's 8 made of?
2.
3 2s. Does it have anything other than 3 2s? No, it's 2 times 2 times 2. Yeah. It only has 2s in it, yes? So of course it's going to be terminated. So let me see. You follow me, guys. Here. I tell you. Oh, so we know the answer to this. That will have a terminating representation. And the other day we actually talked about what it is. But let's see another way to get it. Each of these 2's needs a what? To become a perfect fraction that goes to a decimal. I need the bottom being some multiple of 10, right?
Yeah.
I need you guys with me. Every decimal is going to be 1 over 1 followed by some number of zeros, yes? And that means it's some 10 times 10 times 10 or whatever. And each of those only has 2's and 5's. So if I give each of those 2's a 5, it's going to become 10 times 10 times 10. And if I multiply the top by 5 times 5 times 5. Anybody know what 5 times 5 times 5 is?
525.
And the way to remember that is, it's neat that the way to get to school, we have to go up to 5 cubed. The 125.
Ah.
Yes. And of course, if you want to go over to the beach, you got to go down to 2 cubed.
Okay.
The 8. Yes, okay. Only a math person would do that, I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
If that message.
And what, to get to Vegas, you have to take the 3 times 5?
Yeah, yes.
15.
So, all the odd number freeways, they go, I wanna say
Swap it.
north, south, and then even it goes west.
Yeah, I can't remember. There's rules to like.
Even goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
cross
Okay, okay.
longitude.
It's not talking about
Goes
road math,
latitude.
I'm sorry. Real quick. Let me see if I can get you guys to remember. What was 1/4 again? As a decimal? 0.25. Why does it make sense as terminating?
2.
Because 4 is 2 times 2, right? Does anyone remember how I got to 1/8 from that? Did I just take 1/2 of that? Is it 1/2 of 1/4 1/8?
Yes.
And what's 1/2 of 25?
Hold on, you said 1/2 of 1/4 is 20.
Yeah, 1/2 of 1/4 is 1/8. Is that cool? You can always think of it like a pie. If you cut a pie up into 4 parts and you cut each of those up in half, don't you get 8 slices? Okay, so 1/2 of 1/4 is 1/8. 0.125, does that jive with what we just got there? Isn't that 0.125? Okay. So listen, this little thing I'm doing right there is a little extra. The kind of question I would ask you is, does this have a decimal representation? Without putting it in your calculator, how do you know it has a terminating decimal representation or not? If it only has 2's and 5's. So what about this? What do you got, Jeff? 1 over 25.
Well, yeah.
Because what's the only thing 25 is made of? 5's. It's got no other numbers. It's only got 5's. Yes, exactly. So I could do 1 over 5 times 5, and if I multiply it by 2 times 2, I'll make this 10 times 10. 100, and what's on the top? 4, so that'll be, what is a decimal? 4 hundredths? 0.04, yeah. Sweet. Okay, maybe. So the minute the bottom has a factor that is not 2 or 5, it will not terminate, it'll actually repeat.
I get that you're doing like match the 5's with the 2's, my thing is like where you confuse like what you're doing on the top.
Oh.
Okay, yet you're adding the extra 2's.
No, you ready? If I only change the bottom of a fraction, I've made it a different fraction. If I do the same thing to the top and bottom, it is the same.
So like technically
That's why there's equal signs.
I can multiply the top by like 17 and the bottom by 17.
Yeah. Because if you want to get really, so let me see, I'm not right on that. Okay. So watch this. Couple things in a quick succession. couldn't I reduce this?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's 2 times 3 and that's 3 times 3, so one of them cancels, right? So of course, if I start with 2/3, I can multiply top and bottom by whatever I want to because it would immediately reduce back to what it was to begin with anyway. So then you might say, why the shit would we ever do that then? Because maybe I'm trying to do 2/3 plus 1/9. And of course, how do I do that?
So you would make times 3 times 3, so it'd be 6 times.
Yeah, so we can write it like this if we want to. Multiply by 3. Leave this one alone. 7/9. Yay! So, on one level, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of silly to make 2/3 become 6/9 because math is looking at it as like, whatever, human, it's the same shit. What's 2 divided by 3 in your calculator? 0.66. What's 6 divided by 9 in your calculator?
0.666.
So math is laughing at us. Math is like, you humans with this shit. 2/3, 6/9. They're both the same damn number. They're both 0.66 forever. We're like, math, leave me alone. You're weird. I want to add that. To add that, I need like terms. So leave me alone. I got to make it look different for a minute so it matches with the other guy, and then I can put them together. Does it make? I know you all know that, but that's why that kind of makes sense. That's the one time I actually want to build something up so that it matches with somebody else. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's like my job or something. It's also what I like to do, so that matches pretty well. Okay, so the main things I want to get through. That was all like a little review, actually. One thing we didn't talk about that came up with our little list when I asked you guys to tell me some stuff about decimals. One of them was rounding. So, can somebody, don't say anything yet, think about this. If I want 0.294 rounded to the nearest tenths, so you gotta make sure you got that list in there, right? Don't say anything yet. Think about it. Somebody tell me what number is currently in the tenths place. 2. I love it. It's the decimal 2. I love it. The number 2. And of course, to round any damn thing in the universe, what do I look at?
Greater than 5-ish, right?
The next number over, and then you say if it's greater than 5. So 5 or more, what am I going to do to this?
0.
It's gonna go up. 3.
Yeah, so really what I'm asking is 29 closer to 20, or is it closer to 30? That's another way to look at it, but just to make it technical, just make it by the book. Find a place you're rounding to, look at the next number over. If it's 5 or up, you round that up. If it's below 5, you keep that.
I didn't know that.
5 or higher, add 1 more.
So real quick, help me out. Can you please, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, could you estimate where 0.294 is?
Yeah.
Yeah, like very close.
Is it here?
No.
Is it over here? Which way should I go?
The other way.
Which way, this way? Should I go this way?
Yeah, keep going.
Stop.
Around here, yes?
Yes.
So let me ask you this, is it closer to 0.3 or 0.2?
0.3.
Everybody with me?
Yes.
So wouldn't we say that this is approximately 0.3 because it's closer to frickin' 0.3? So what is the technical way, instead of drawing it and then relying on your eyeballs to realize, let's make a more technical way. If this was 0.5, if this was 0.25, that's the only one that we had to make a choice. We could have went either way with 0.25, but we decided 0.25 is going to go up to 0.3, so we round that up. Anything between 0.25 and 0.2, we're going to round down because then it's closer to 0.2. You guys all with me? So that's the knife's edge right there, right? So if it's on this side, it's closer to 0.2. So on this side, it's closer to 0.3. And 0.25, we had to make a choice. We decided to bring that up to 0.3. Okay. So where things get weird, so is everybody with me? So if I say round to the nearest tenths, you find a place, you look at the next number, and then you make a decision. Okay. So what if I said same number, 0.294, but I I want it rounded to the nearest hundreds place. You'll get there, Jeff. Let's just word this word. Hold on. Did it do it?
Start
No.
now.
Darn it, I'm sorry.
It's good, it's good.
Oh, no.
It's not, it's supposed to be
different, but it
in the
doesn't
middle,
say.
but oh well.
It's supposed to be swapped. Fools.
You fools. That's the opposite of what I do. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with this. Can you guys see that all right?
Yes.
The thing, okay. Who's got that answer?
I would prefer on that.
Yeah, what's in the hundreds place? Hundreds, yeah, 9. So then you look next to it, so this will become 0.29.
Okay.
Or 0.290, same thing. Yeah. So, couple weird things. Here is the one that I always get people making mistakes about. Yeah, let's do this one. Ready? 11.13444447. So let's see if everybody's cool with this, okay?
How many rows is that?
Well, then we gotta grab to the five.
So I want it to round it to nearest thousandth. Let's see if anybody, there's nothing special here, there's nothing tricky, nothing. But I want to see if this kind of mistake comes up. Let's see.
I think I just made the
It's
mistake.
nothing tricky, nothing. There's just something weird that random people do sometimes. And enough of them do it, it makes me concerned. Who wants to hazard? What you got, Brittany?
1.134.
Well, so it should be 11, right?
Or 11.134.
So why'd you say 5?
Yeah.
Because I kept bringing the 7.
Ah,
and
okay,
making it 5
okay.
And kept rounding up.
Okay. So I appreciate you taking the initiative to answer that. That is the mistake. That is the mistake. So if anybody else made that mistake, say thank you, Brittany, for taking that. So here's why it's a mistake. This isn't dominoes. I can't take this guy and bam, bam, bam. No, how do I round? How do I round? I find the place. What's in the thousandths place right now? This 4. What's right next to it? It wasn't, it's not stupid. Your brain says, well, that makes it go to 5, and that makes it go to 5, so that's going to be a 5 eventually, so, right?
It's just funny looking at it.
I'm with you. So if anybody else made the same mistake, do you see why it's a mistake now? Because it isn't a 5 next to it, it's a 4. You can't artificially kind of make it go up and then round up. No, you only ever look at the place you want to round to and the number next to it. Nothing else could possibly change the answer. Yes?
Yeah, when I got caught, like when I was younger, I drew a line under that place and then I circled the next number and.
Okay, yeah, whatever works. So how did I do it? I drew a line and then an arrow. So you can draw a line and then circle that and then go, okay, that number is a 4, so this number is going to stay 4. I like that. I like it. How about round this? You ready? The same number,
Oh, same big way.
round it to the tens.
11.9.
Oh,
Careful.
Oh,
Did I say that with the lift?
oh, no, my bad, hold on.
Tens.
Tens,
Tens, it would be
So
tens.
it would just.
not tenths.
It would.
Tens.
It would. No,
So what's in the tens place?
1.
This first one, yes? What's next to it?
1.
So what's the answer then?
11.
Good. 10. Nearest tens. Okay. Alright, yes.
I have a question. So sometimes, like in prior classes, I've noticed that even when you round, some teachers leave like some digits out. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, sure, so,
Like sometimes.
like
it's
up here, you
not
could put
numbers.
zeros, right? Here you could put zeros, I don't know if that's what you mean.
I'll check.
So one big mistake I see is when I start to bring decimals into play and say round it to the nearest 10, somebody tells me the answer is 1. Because they think that's that 1, that's the 1. But no, of course, it's 10. So what's happening to all the other places after what I'm looking at, they all become zeros.
They go bye-bye.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So that's some rounding stuff, so that's gonna show up. What do you guys think if I were to ask you, what are you, okay. If I were to ask you to estimate this. So I want you to estimate that answer without using a calculator. So 311.97 is roughly what? Nice, beautiful, very round number. Very round, beautiful, beautiful, very round number. 300, right?
Wow.
0.4629 is closest to what single digit decimal? Yeah.
Uh,
And what's really, really nice about that is
That's just half.
half of 300,
it is
150.
There's no way you would give us a problem that nice.
Huh?
There's no way you would give us a
course
problem
I
that
would.
nice.
Yeah, he would. He just did.
Yeah.
Look at this breakdown.
This is exactly the kind of problem I would give you. Yeah. So right now, it's nice, because we did it together. You gotta
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah,
that's how it
yeah.
works, right? Yeah.
Can we do another one like that?
Sure. Alright, one more multiplication, then I wanna do division. What about, okay, let me see if you guys get this. 487.3917 times 0. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay, 2468.
Do we
Who do we,
appreciate?
yes, exactly.
125.
Say again?
About 125.
How'd you get that?
500 times a quarter.
Oh, I see, okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's wrong.
Oh, wait.
So real quick. I'm gonna agree with something here. Does everybody agree this is really close to a nice decimal? Isn't 0.25 a nice decimal because it's a quarter?
Yeah.
Since that is a quarter, don't I wanna round this to something that 4 goes into nicely?
Yeah, like 48.
Like 480.
You get 120.
Let's see, but 0.25 doesn't go in there.
It does.
Yes, it does.
1/4.
It's a decimal, I mean, it's like a
You
four.
look at me all crazy, you're like, yes it does.
Real quick. 0.25 is
Okay,
1/4.
yeah.
Like you said, it's 1/4. 4 goes into 480. 1, 2, 0. Right? 4 into 4, 4 into 8, 4 into 0. 1, 2, 0. Which the 125 would actually be great. You would just have to explain to me your reasoning. Or you would just write 500 and then say, I figured out it's roughly 125. Beautiful. Here. Okay. Yes.
So you can do 500 instead of 400.
Totally. Yes. But do you understand why I did 480?
It gets you closer to the.
I just made it easy to divide by 4 because I knew this was a fourth. So sometimes when you estimate, actually we basically did the same thing up here. I want the decimal to become some decimal that I like, some nice decimal, right? Something that's gonna work well. 0.5 kicks ass because it's half. 0.25 kicks ass because it's a fourth. What about if I add times 0.3278? Does anyone know what I could do with that? I'll tell you what you could do with that. Hey. What's 0.3278 close to that becomes a nice fraction?
3.
Say it again, it's not close to 3, but what do you mean?
109.
1/3.
1/3. And then I would make this become freaking 900. You guys see what I'm saying? You guys see what I'm saying? 0.3278 is very close to 0.333333, which is 1/3.
So then that would be like 300.
Totally. So when you're estimating, you're trying to be nice to yourself. You're trying to make this shit easy to do in your head. That's the point of it. Okay. That's the one time. Estimation is the one time you're allowed to change the problem. And sometimes people don't do it. I'm like, damn it, that's the one time you're allowed to do it. And you do it when I don't allow you to.
Your math is finally mathing for me.
Yay. Okay. Last couple things.
Dividing.
We're gonna divide eventually.
Okay.
So real quick, we've already talked a little bit about this, but remind me, if I wanted to add 0.071 to 1.2, how do I have to be careful to do it?
Your place values are lined up good.
You're right, let me get some better paper. What did I say, 0.071 plus
1.2.
1.2, thank you. Yeah, why do I have to line up the decimal places? Because real quick, help me out. What is this number? As a fraction, sorry.
71 over 1,000.
Yeah, ones, tens and ones. Let me just live in that for a minute.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
I just said once. I just wanna enjoy that for a minute.
I never understood why there was never a 1.
Tenths, hundredths, thousandths.
I actually.
Right, so 71 over 1,000. And what's this? What's this?
1. We have the ones.
1 and
A 10.
2 tenths, which is actually the same thing as 12 tenths. What's really funny is, wherever the last digit is, I can put the whole damn thing over that. If you don't agree with me, this is a mixed number, correct?
Yeah.
1 and 2 tenths. How do I make that into an improper fraction? 10 times 1 plus 2? 12 tenths. Hey.
Yippee.
So I can just take all the digits and put it over 10, because that's where the last digit is in the place of. It's in the tenths.
I think if we just add zeros to make 1,000.
Totally, kick ass. I'll calm down. So when I line this up, it would be 1,200 plus 71. I'm gonna put the answer over 1,000, correct? Therefore, the shortcut is, I wanna line up decimals, 1.2 plus 0.071, and then I can put zeros there, and then that is exactly what that's trying, and now, just remind you guys, whatever the answer is, I divide over 1,000, right? You guys kinda with me? That's another way to show why must we line the decimals up, because that's not gonna be obvious. That is not obvious. But it just boils down to like terms. What number is in the same place as this in this number? What 2 is in what place?
The 10s.
And what's the tenths? And then what's in the same place over here?
0.
0. So they should be lined up because they are like terms. Okay, I'm gonna stop repeating that message. Okay. And of course, I'm sorry. You get what do you get? You get. This was nice because there's nothing to carry. Okay. Subtraction is the same way. You just have to now. You have to be careful about subtraction. Can you guys take a second and do 1.1 minus 0.34?
That should enter negatives. .76.
So what's something that a student might not understand needs to happen?
That lining up part is gonna be harder.
The lining up part's kind of weird.
There's an imaginary 0.
There's an understood 0 there, yeah. And now it becomes, the beautiful thing about that is once you fill that 0 in, and how would somebody show? Does anybody know how you'd show to a student why that's legal? Why 1.1 equals 1.10? What's the easiest way to show that's true? Oh, sure. Okay, so you could use the, you mean the base 10 piece? Sure, yeah. Well, how could he do it computationally? What is 1.1? That's 1 and what's 1.10? It's 1 and 10 hundredths. What is 10 hundredths reduced to? There you go. So I can add as many zeros on as I want to because they would just cancel back down. Forever. And now this I just can do like we have in the past. right? Then I have to borrow 1, make that 11, and I gotta borrow 1 and make that 10. Yes?
Wait,
Yes?
why can't you just directly borrow from the one next door and bring it to a 9? The one in the 10th place.
Let me write it. What do you say? So if I wanna make this a 10, yeah, I can make this a 0. Yeah, you could do that one too, yeah. You still end up with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see my mistake now.
You're good. So then you get 0.76, blah, blah, blah. So the nice thing is, once you get the zeros filled in, it becomes the same kind of problem as before without the decimal there. So one way to approach decimal problems is to bring it back into fractions. So like if I'm gonna multiply, I can't remember if we did a problem like this, 0.03 times 2.1. Can you rewrite those as fractions? Don't say anything, just take a second, rewrite it as fractions. Okay, so what do you got? What's this?
3 over 100?
And then how'd somebody write this one? 2 and 1/10.
I did 21 over 10.
I don't, yeah, not that. So I want you guys to get used to doing this. So that's 2 and 1/10, but it's just 21/10. So again, whatever the last digit places in, that's what I'm gonna put on the bottom, and I'm gonna put all the numbers over it, so 21 over 10. What's 20 divided by 10? 2, and what's 1 over 10? 0.1, so that becomes 2.1, I like it. Now how do I do this? Don't change anything, no? Remember, when I multiply, divide, I don't need like terms. In fact, that's kind of the opposite of what I want to cancel stuff. But here I can't cancel anything, so I just,
63 over 1,000.
which would be,
0.06.
yeah, 0, I gotta stop looking at the monitor. 0.63. Now, if I line these up, and I'm gonna line them up like this, even though I normally wouldn't, but oh well. Do you guys remember how to do this? And again, this is a question like, I'm not assuming you don't know how to do anything, but forever since you had to multiply decimals by hand, correct? It's not something you do all the time. I just multiply this like I normally would, right? 3, and then there's 0, and then there's 6. But then how do I tell where to put the decimal place? Do you guys remember, anybody? Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So why does that make sense? Because tenths times 100ths is 1,000ths. So I gotta move 3 places back. This explains why that shortcut works. And that would have more impact if you remember that. I'm not sure if you remember that's how you do decimal multiplication. I'm not sure if you ever knew why the hell you did that. Okay. What about division then? Can somebody remind me, how would I divide? How would I do this problem? 0.7 into 502. How would I get that started? What's the first thing I should do? Does anyone remember?
How many 7s are in 5?
No? I would want to move this over. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Oh,
So why, and of course that makes more sense because now I'm dividing by 7 instead of 0.7, which is weird, but. So why does that make sense? Because let me write the original problem down again. What does that look like as a fraction currently? It wouldn't really be a fraction, but if I write it as a ratio, what would it be?
0.7.
Careful. What am I dividing by?
500.
I'm dividing by 0.7, right? So I'm dividing 502 by 0.7. How do I make that decimal move over? What do I have to multiply by to make the decimal move over once? 10. So if I multiply top and bottom by 10, that moves over once, and that picks up a 0. Do you guys see that? That's why that worked. And again, I understand if it's been long enough and you forgot, but if you remember this, it's kind of more impactful, because that's why it works. That's why moving the decimal over works, yes?
So then once we do 70 divided by 5,020, we just move it back.
No. I need you to understand, this problem is exactly the same
Don't move it.
as this problem. You don't have to move any. This is an equivalent problem. These two are the same. So whatever the answer is to this is the same answer as this. But that's a good point, Brittany, because I back in the day when I taught like Math 80, all that good stuff, I'd have people thinking they're supposed to undo that stuff. But no, this statement says these are the same. Yeah.
Could it also be 50,020 over 70? Like, could you keep going?
You could, but I don't want to make this bigger. I just didn't want it to be a decimal, right? But you totally could keep adding zeros to both of them forever, and the math is like, do what you want to do. So I mean, just to do this 749, right? This is, remember doing this is all. Yes.
I've been doing this forever.
I calculated it, right?
So you could, unfortunately, this is the decimal section, so you will have some problems where you have to, and they'll tell you where to round to or whatever, right? Yay, Jeff, we love it. Thank you so much. Okay, you signed up for it. All right, last thing today, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing for keeping you the normal time. You guys are we're so used to getting out early. With division, another way to kind of look at this, what if I had to divide 0.062 by Jeff? What do you got, buddy?
By Jeff.
0.2. Isn't this 62 over 1,000? Is that cool? Divided by 2/10, yes? How do I divide fractions?
Keep it, change it, flip it.
Do the reciprocal.
And then you can
2 goes into 62,
31 times.
and then 1 0 cancels, yes? And what's 31 over 100? Point 31. Crazy sauce. So real quick, 0.062 divided by 2 is 0.031, because they just cut it in half. Is that cool? When it divided by 0.2, now does this make sense? If I divide by a smaller number, my answer should get bigger. Yes? So divided by 2 is 0.031, divided by 0.2 is 0.31. It got a little bigger. In fact, it got a factor of 10 bigger.
So we can just remove a 0 from each one, kind of thing?
Do it again, sorry.
Can we remove a 0 from each one? Like, so if it was 0.02, not 0.20, we could just like take away both of the zeros from the front? Or no?
So let's see, if it was 0.062 divided by 0.02?
Yeah.
So that would be 62 over 1,000 divided by 2 over 100, yes? 62 over 1,000 times 100 over 2. I lose 2 zeros.
Okay.
You with me? So then 2 goes into 31 to be 31 over 10, which is 3.1. So look at this. Divided by 0.2, it was 10 times bigger. Divided by 0.02, it's 10 times bigger again. The decimal just moved over once, yes. I'm not sure if that's what you were saying.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of cool little side stuff going on here. All right, let's do this. I still want to talk about scientific notation. So we're going to talk about that at the beginning of next class. I don't have any liquid with me, and I'm starting to run out of speaking ability. I ran out of water. Listen to me, it sounds terrible. Everybody got a practice test, yes? So I'll have the answer key next time. I'll have the quizzes graded.
Are we gonna go over
That's on Thursday, yeah.
yeah, so review, so we're gonna
Test is a week from today, so Tuesday's review day, just like before.
Okay.
That means good, pretty much 2 hours study.
Huh?
2 hours study hall.
Yes. Basically, that's what I set up.
Oh, don't forget to stop
So we
recording.
have Tuesday.
Thank you.